Can you hear me? No. Is this audio working? Hang on. How about now? Well, well, look who showed up. Welcome to the county, folks. Peterborough County. What a day. I ordered this weather, so you're welcome. I'm Michelle Ferreri, and I'm your Conservative candidate for Peterborough! I want to acknowledge my colleague and friend right there, Philip Lawrence from Northumberland Clark. Common sense Conservative, he's taught me everything I know. Thanks, Philip. I want to give a big shout out to the Glenn family who is hosting us today on this beautiful property. You know, the Glenns are so much like so many Canadian families. They farm the lands, they're generational farmers, they've worked really hard, they've built this incredible business, they give to their community, they care about their children's future, they're ready for a change, they give back. And you know, when I came here a couple weeks ago to do a tour, Paul took me into one of the buildings and he said, Michelle, I want to show you the big truck repairs we do. And I said, yeah. And he says, you know, remember when Mark Carney said we don't use any steel? He said, do you see any steel in here, Michelle? I said, you know, Paul, I do. They use a lot of steel and they make a big difference in our community and our country. And I'm so grateful to the Glenn family for hosting us here today. So I have a big question. After 10 years of Liberals, does your life feel better? Do they deserve a fourth term? I didn't think so. Who's ready for a change? We want change, folks. We want change, and we have just the party and the leader to do it. Change for affordability. Change, let's exchange tents for houses and subdivisions. Let's change addiction into treatment and recovery. Let's change criminals who are walking out free on bail, terrorizing our communities, into jail. Jail, not bail. It is time for a change, folks, and I have to tell you this story. This is emotional. We have all done everything to lead us here today. And when Pierre Poilievre won the 2022 Conservative leadership race, yeah, it was cool. You know, I went over to congratulate him, and he grabbed me by the shoulders. He's a very sensitive, compassionate guy. And he looked at me and he said, Michelle, we're going to help a lot of people. And that's what this is. And you are all the change we need. There is so much hurt. And you know what gets you through hurt? Hope. Hope is here, guys. Change is here. We have everything the world needs, and we have the leader with the courage to unleash it to make us the richest country in the world. We have a leader who is ready to turn hope into to turn hurt into hope. And we have a leader who is going to restore the dream of Canada. And I am so honored to stand here with you. And I am so grateful for you showing up and doing your part. And it is the biggest honor to welcome this man. So please give the biggest Peterborough welcome to the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre
Poilievre! There's something tender about it. There's something hidden about it. There's something generations can have and can hold. We break down the walls and break out of the mold. Yeah, we fight for what's right. We're wild and we're free from the mountains above us. And all you can see is your life just a place of freedom. There's something brand new about it. Yeah, you'll leave and you'll miss it, then come back and kiss it. You'll travel the distance, we're so proud of it. We fight for what's right, we're wild and we're free from the mountains above us. And all you can see is more than just a place. We're freedom. Yeah, we fight for what's right. We're wild and we're free from the mountains above us. And all you can see is more than just a place. We're freedom. It's our home. There's something tender about it. There's something hidden about it. There's something our generations can have and can hold. We break down the walls and break out of the mold. Yeah, we fight for what's right. We're wild and we're free from the mountains above us. And all you can see is more than just a trace. We're freedom. It's all. Nostalgic about it. There's something brand new about it. Yeah, you'll leave and you'll miss it, then come back and kiss it. You'll travel the distance, we're so proud of it. We fight for what's right, we're wild and we're free from the mountains above us. And all you can see is more than just a place. We're free. Yeah, we fight for what's right. We're wild and we're free from the mountains above us. It's our home.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Who's voting for change? Who's voting for food and you can afford for a change? Who's voting to axe the taxes for a change? Who is voting for safe streets for a change? And who's voting to bring home the Canadian promise for change? Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Nous sommes ici aujourd'hui pour renforcer la promesse du Canada que chacun qui travaille fort peut avoir une belle vie dans une belle maison abordable sur une rue sécuritaire. Mais pour le faire, il faut que ça change. On ne peut pas payer le prix pour un quatrième mandat libéral. On a besoin d'un nouveau gouvernement conservateur qui va couper les taxes et les impôts, bâtir des logements, libérer nos ressources et renforcer le Canada pour faire changement. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Thank you very much. This guy says he loves my jeans. I normally don't wear jeans. Thank you. Thank you, a treasured letter, a beautiful message. What an incredible crowd we have here today. Thank you very much for rallying for change with me today. Before I begin, I want to encourage everybody to offer their prayers to the Filipino community in British Columbia who faced a horrific attack yesterday. All of us are reaching out to them and offering our total solidarity. May the lost souls be blessed and rest in peace, and may their families have peace here on this earth. Thank you very much for sharing your prayers with them. This is a time of hope, a time to restore the promise that this country made to each and every one of us. A very simple promise. And it was this: you work hard, you get a good life, you get to live in a nice house, on a safe street, that anyone from anywhere can achieve anything. That your origins don't matter. It doesn't matter where you come from. It matters where you're going, whether you've been here for 6 months or your family for 6 generations. That was the promise that every single Canadian was born into or arrived to receive when they came to Canada. But after the lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime, that promise is broken. Everywhere I go, I meet people who are struggling and suffering. I meet parents who've lost loved ones, lost children to drug overdoses. Young people who say they'll never be able to buy a home and start a family like their parents could not long ago. I meet single mothers who go to bed hungry, their stomach, their fridge, and their bank account empty, not knowing how they'll pay the bills the next day. I met a man in British Columbia yesterday who's spending $5,000 a month on rent. All he does is work. This is not the country we were born into. This is the result of a disastrous liberal record over the last 10 years. We cannot afford a 4th term. Canada needs change. And I need Michelle Ferreri to help deliver that change. Michelle has been fighting for the people in and around Peterborough. She serves the people. She goes onto the street and meets with people who are trapped in homeless encampments or addicted to drugs. She is known to go and sit on a street corner with someone who is suffering with addiction, and she brings me their stories back to Parliament Hill. She's the kind of person who is genuinely a member of the House of the Common People, a real servant, a bottom-up, grassroots champion of the people. I need her to bring real change so you can afford food and homes and live in a safe street again. But I have some bad news for Michelle and also for Phil Lawrence. Phil Lawrence here, the great Phil Lawrence, Member of Parliament. One of our great shadow ministers as well, who's an entrepreneur, a lawyer, a great Canadian champion, a patriot, a father. He owns his own little vineyard. He loves to make some wine, so go and see him about getting a drink after. He didn't bring any to share with the crowd here, Phil. You might have got us some votes if you did that, but but you know, I got some bad news for you. You're not going to be out in your vineyard much this summer. You're not going to be having any vacation. In fact, if you have fishing rods or golf clubs. You can sell them on eBay because the politicians are not getting a summer vacation this year. I have announced 100 days of change. We are going to require, we're canceling summer vacation to pass the Affordability for a Change Act, the Bring Home Our Jobs for a Change Act, and the Safe Streets for a Change Act in the first 100 days of a new Conservative government. Because change can't wait. We need change now. The people who are struggling to feed their families, whose bank accounts are running empty, need the government to take action, reverse the disastrous policies of the last 10 years, and we need to do it immediately. Starting with the Affordability for a Change Act. This act will start by cutting $55 billion of wasteful government spending. Consultants will streamline bureaucracy, we will cut back on foreign aid. We'll bring in a dollar for dollar law, requiring we find $1 of savings for every new dollar of spending. In that way, we will cut the Liberal deficit by 70% to bring down inflation and interest rates. And on this point, this is a big disagreement we have with Mr. Carney. He wants to cake on another $130 billion of additional spending. On top of the previous debt Trudeau had projected, a fourth Liberal term would add $250 billion of extra inflationary debt that would drive up your cost of living. That is why we can't afford a fourth term. We need to bring down the cost of government, to bring down your cost of living, and we need to reward hard work again. And that's why Conservatives will cut your income tax by 15%. So you bring home more for a change. We will save the future of our children by stopping the debt the government keeps adding. And then there is the Carney tax, this electric vehicle mandate. Have you heard about this? Starting next year, Mr. Carney wants to start to cap the number of gas and diesel-powered vehicles your local dealership can sell, and if they go over that quota, there will be a $20,000 per vehicle tax. That means, now, how many of you are going to be able to drive to Bob Cajun or drive up to the north? Anybody here from Bob Cajun? I think there was this. Was it named after a song, or was the song named after it? Or drive around Northern Ontario in a Tesla. You know, the Liberals want you to buy a foreign-made electric vehicle rather than supporting our own people. A $20,000 tax that will go then to subsidize Tesla charging stations and punish hardworking people who need their cars and trucks to live their lives, punish our farmers who need their automobiles and fossil fuels to power their agenda, power their work. My friends, Conservatives will axe the Carney tax and put you back in the driver's seat of what vehicle you drive. In fact, we will go further. To bring home automobile production to this country, we will axe the federal sales tax on Canadian-made automobiles for a change. We want change. You'll have more change in your pocket. More change in your pocket. And you'll be able to bring it home, but you need a home to bring it to. Housing costs have more than doubled in the last 10 years of Liberal government, rising faster than in any other G7 country. Now an entire generation, for the first time ever, believes they'll never be able to afford a home. Our seniors worry about eviction. I still remember the trucker I met in Bowmanville who drove truck for 50 years, but they rent-evicted him, raised his rent. He had to call his daughter and asked if he could live in her basement. These are the stories that people are living daily. Canadians cannot afford these high prices, and we shouldn't have to pay them. Housing should be dirt cheap in Canada, because we have the most dirt to build on, by far. So what's driving up the cost? It's government bureaucracy. Taxes take up 1/3 of the cost of every newly built home in Ontario. Then there's the red tape on top of the taxes, the delays, the consultants, lobbyists, lawyers, accountants, and the other administrative costs that it takes just to get the permits, which are the second slowest in the OECD, 3 times longer than in the United States and in Great Britain. My friends, we're going to change this. We will lead the way. A new Conservative government will axe the federal sales tax on new homes to save you up to 65 grand on your purchase. We will pay the municipalities to cut their development charges to bring them down another 50 grand, saving you about 100 grand in taxes on a new home. We'll incentivize speeding up permits, freeing up land, and cutting those charges to build 15% more homes every year. We'll sell off federal land and buildings to build 300,000 homes. And altogether, our plan will build 2.3 million homes over the next 5 years, so you get an affordable roof overhead for a change. And we will also ensure you bring home powerful paychecks to those homes. That's why we're going to be passing the Bring Home Our Jobs for a Change Act. It's designed to reverse the $500 billion of investment that's left for the United States over the last 10 years because of high taxes and blocking resources. We have the most resources of any country in the world. We should be the richest country in the world. We've got to get them out of the ground, though. We got to get them out of the ground. And that's why we will repeal the anti-energy, anti-development liberal law C-69 to build pipelines, mines, nuclear power stations, data centers, and we will grant permits for the Ring of Fire within 6 months to get digging those minerals here in Ontario for a change. We'll cut taxes on investment and reward farmers who decide to maybe sell to the next generation and reinvest in another business. We'll pass the Canada First Reinvestment Tax Cut, 0 capital gains tax when you reinvest the money in Canada. And we need the workers who are going to build stuff, fix stuff, move stuff, and make stuff. That means boots, not suits. So Conservatives will back funding for 350,000 young apprentices to get trained up as boilermakers, pipe fitters, carpenters, electricians. The people who build our country are going to get trained up by our government, and they're going to bring home incredible paychecks for a change. In fact, I'm going to be giving a present. We want change. The kids back there want change. Smart kids, eh? Look at this crowd. All these young people. Amazing. Thank you, my friend. And we're also I'm going to give a present to every high school principal. I know they say, you know, healthcare is provincial, but there's nothing in the Constitution that says that the Prime Minister cannot give a gift to every single principal. It's going to be a box about the size of the back of this pickup truck. And in it will be a module for every Red Seal trade so that our schools can get 14-year-old kids started on pre-apprenticeships so they get a jump start on a great paycheck and a Red Seal ticket. We want those young people, though, to bring home their paycheck to safe neighborhoods. So we have to stop the crime for a change, don't we? Is there any crime around here? What kind of crime have you got? What's that? Tent? You've got a tent encampment. What else? Fentanyl. The drugs? Stabbing, shootings. The violence is out of control. Wasn't like this before, was it? Was this one of those places where 15 years ago you didn't even need to lock your door? Yeah. Remember those days? It's almost hard to believe that these same neighborhoods where people lived in total tranquility could fall asleep on their front porch and not wake up until the morning. And now they're afraid. Now they're afraid to even go grocery shopping. You know, in Toronto, the police say that you should leave your keys at the front door so that if a car thief comes along, he doesn't threaten your family. He can just take the keys in the car, and you'll find out about it when he wakes up in the morning. There are people in Toronto now, every time they hear a creak in their house, they assume it's someone coming to take those keys and take their car. My friends, it wasn't like this before the lost Liberal decade, and it won't be like this after they're gone. We're going to bring real change. The Safe Streets for a Change Act will repeal the Liberal catch and release bail law, C-75. It will repeal the Liberal house arrest law, C-5. Jail time will be done in jail, not in your living room. We will get rid of the Liberal Bill C-83, the Paul Bernardo get out of jail free card. He's going back to a maximum security penitentiary. He'll only come out in a box. We will pass the 3 strikes and you're outlaw. 3 serious convictions, you go to jail with no parole, probation, a house arrest, or early release, and you'll never get out until after 10 years, and you have perfect behavior, clean drug tests, and you learn a marketable skill so that you can contribute to society. You either do that or you stay in jail, because we do not want people back on our streets doing crime. The game is over. Our streets will be safe for a change. And we're going to stop the drugs. The drugs are out of control. Fentanyl, meth. Michelle tells me all about the incredible drug crisis that has worsened here in and around Peterborough over the last several years. Tent encampments have popped up. We've lost 50,000 of our loved ones to overdoses. That's more than died fighting for Canada in World War II. And British Columbia, it's one of the leading causes of death for anyone over the age of 10. It is an incredible tragedy that our people are suffering. And we know the answer. We need to stop the drugs from coming into our country with more secure borders that have high-powered scanners, watchtowers to intercept drugs, guns, stolen cars, and drones that bring paraphernalia over the border. We need 2,000 more CBSA officers, which we will deliver, so that we can stop these drugs from coming in. We need tougher sentences for the fentanyl mass producers and dealers. 40 milligrams is enough to kill 20 people. Anyone selling that amount is effectively committing mass murder. As a result, we will bring in life sentences for anyone caught dealing 40 milligrams of fentanyl. We will stop giving out tax-funded opioids, bring in tougher penalties. Instead of giving out drugs, we're going to give out treatment. We will offer treatment to 50,000 people across this country. They will have counseling, group therapy, physical exercise, yoga, job placement, housing. We're going to turn it around. And you know, I was at a treatment center in Moncton not long ago, and I sat down with a bunch of young guys who were getting their lives turned around, and they said, "Thank you for helping us." And I said, "Listen, I'm not the one helping. I actually came here to ask you for help. I need you. I have a job for you to do. You're going to get better, and then you're going to get out of here and go onto the street, and you're going to drag someone else in here. They're going to get better, and then they're going to go out on the street and drag one more person in, and we're going to, through that cycle, we're going to turn this around and save the lives of our loved ones. If you are addicted, my message is to you, have hope, hang on, help is on the way." And we are going to, as I said, we will secure our borders and lock up drug and gun smugglers. We're going to protect our people against the growing threat of illegal firearms that are responsible for all the gun crime. And we're going to pay for those toughened border measures by canceling the ridiculous multi-billion-dollar Liberal gun grab. Liberals will ban your hunting rifle. Spread the message. Your hunting rifles will be banned if Liberals get reelected. We can't allow that to happen. Hunting is a legitimate part of life. You know, it's funny, they had a government report out the other day. Did you hear about this? More snakes than ladders, they called this section. And they predict that by 2040, groceries will be so expensive on the current path that people won't even go to grocery stores anymore. They'll have to illegally forage on public lands. Fish, hunt, forage. But with what? If you banned your hunting rifle, you're not even going to be able to do that. So I hope you guys are good at archery. So, listen, I want to protect Canadians from criminals. I don't want to protect turkeys from hunters. My job is to keep Canadians safe, and we will. We will honor our traditions of hunting and angling. We will respect rural communities and rural values once again for a change. And we are going to secure our borders by rebuilding the great Canadian Armed Forces, our military. We will fill the vacancies in the Army, Navy, and Air Force by Poseidon aircraft that will surveil and intercept the Chinese and Russian submarines that do incursions into our northern waters. We will build 4 massive, heavy Arctic icebreakers to break open that ice and keep our enemies out of our waters. We'll build new landing strips on the ground in the north. We'll build the first Arctic base in Canada since the Cold War, CFB Iqaluit. And not only that, we will protect our veterans. They fought for us. It's time to have a government that fights for them for a change. We will be a country that upholds and celebrates its history. No more tearing down statues. We're going to build new statues to honor our history. And we will fill our passport once again with our heroes, Terry Fox, the famous 5, the Canadian military. We're going to be a patriotic nation that bows before no other country, that raises its flag, that honors its past, that's optimistic about its future, that secures its border, builds homes for its use, protects its vulnerable, and goes marching forward with growing confidence. What binds us together is the Canadian promise, that anyone from anywhere can achieve anything, that hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful home, on a safe street under our proud flag. And this is a message of hope. For the single mother out there struggling to feed your children, I want you to have hope, because change is on the way. To the abandoned veteran who feels like you've been left behind and dishonored by your government, have hope, because change is on the way for you too. To the seniors who worry that their kids will never be able to afford a home and bring them grandchildren, my message to you is have hope, because change is on the way for you too. But we need to stand up for change. We need to fight for change. And most of all, tomorrow, we need to vote for change. Vote for change so you can afford food and homes. Vote for change so you're safe in your street. Vote for change so that our flag flies high and we are proud and strong. My friends, let us bring home the country that we knew and love. Canada first, Canada always. Let's bring it home. Thank you.
Something tender about,
Get ahead of the crowd a little bit.
something hidden about, something generations something brand new about